In the Hollywood entertainment industry, where beauty is often considered one of the most valuable assets, there is a little-known truth. Behind the spotlight, stars sometimes pay a heavy price in the relentless pursuit of the perfect image. In this video, we will see 19 Black actresses, once symbols of beauty, who have faced tragedy and regret after their decisions to undergo cosmetic surgery. They embarked on a quest for perfection, but the result was transformations that made them strangers in their own bodies. From subtle facial tweaks to major surgeries like Brazilian butt lifts and tummy tucks, their journey went far beyond appearance. It cost them their natural identity and self-confidence. If you decide to keep watching this video, be prepared you might not even recognize the stars you once admired. Have you ever felt pressured to change your appearance in order to reach society's idea of perfection? If yes, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, comment 0. Enjoy the video. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to support the channel, and share it if you believe this message deserves to be heard. Once a symbol of beauty and the first Black Miss America in 1984, Vanessa Williams broke down barriers in the beauty industry. However, her crown was short-lived. A nude photo scandal stripped everything away. Her career seemed over, but she persevered and made a comeback, shining on screen in iconic films like Soul Food, Ugly Betty, and many other memorable roles. Yet behind that charm was an obsession that couldn't be easily erased. Fear of aging, fear of being forgotten, and fear of beauty fading. It was these fears that led her down the path of cosmetic surgery, a road with no turning back. Starting in the late 1990s, Vanessa took her first steps into the world of plastic surgery. At first, it was just a minor nose job, subtly reshaping her nose to be slimmer and a bit higher, with delicate curves. Everything seemed fine. But as she hit her 50s, the fear of aging began to erode her mind. Hollywood has little room for faces that have grown older. Younger, fresher actresses started to take her place, and Vanessa couldn't accept that. She decided to turn to surgery to turn back time. Botox became a regular part of her life. The needles pierced her skin, erasing every trace of age. No wrinkles, no signs of time. However, her face lost its natural expression. Her cheeks became unnaturally full, the thick filler causing them to puff up like a wax figure. But that wasn't all. Her lips also became plump, thick, and rigid in an unsettling way. Vanessa was no longer herself. Now at 62, she still walks confidently on the red carpet, carrying the same aura as she did in her younger days. However, the public now sees her differently. No longer the beauty icon she once was, Vanessa is now a polished, lifeless stranger. Photos of her youth flood the internet, accompanied by comments lamenting, "She used to be so beautiful." The frightening truth is that Vanessa knows this too. But it's too late. There's no way out, no turning back. She still steps into the spotlight, but the public no longer sees her as the beauty icon she once was. Instead, they view her as a victim of her own obsession with staying young forever. Wendy is one of the most famous TV hosts in America. From being a radio DJ, she made a name for herself with sharp, bold, and dramatic commentary. Wendy also appeared in the film Think Like a Man, proving that her fame wasn't limited to television. However, off the stage, Wendy became obsessed with her appearance. She always longed for change, and cosmetic surgery became the only path she pursued. A path that ultimately destroyed everything. Wendy's transformation began in the 1990s. As a tall radio DJ, not slender or soft, she felt out of place among the TV stars. To improve her figure, Wendy decided to undergo breast augmentation. It was a bold decision, and indeed, confidence radiated from her face. But that wasn't all. By the 2000s, Wendy continued her battle with her body. She underwent liposuction to achieve a smaller waist and more seductive curves. However, the results were not as expected. The upper part of her body remained full, while the lower part became emaciated, creating an imbalance in her body proportions. But Wendy didn't stop there. She continued with Botox injections, fillers, and even rhinoplasty. However, instead of improving, her nose became crooked, her cheeks unnaturally puffed up, and her lips grew thicker but misshapen. Wendy's face lost its harmony and became like a doll with imperfections. Despite this, Wendy did not stop. As time passed, she continued to make adjustments. A troubled marriage with Kevin Hunter, cheating scandals, and the pain of betrayal fueled her obsession with surgery. She longed for a rebirth, to erase all the stains from her past. However, each surgery only caused her to lose more. By 2020, Wendy Williams was no longer the Wendy of the past. Her body had become unnaturally puffed up, yet lacked any natural grace. Her face was bright, but devoid of any expression. On television, the audience saw a stiff, unfamiliar woman. Wendy had achieved what she wanted, to stand out on screen. But the price she paid was that no one could recognize her anymore. Lisa Ray McCoy once epitomized the sultry allure of Hollywood after her breakout success in Players Club in 1998. With her balanced features, sharp eyes, and commanding presence, she captivated everyone's attention. However, glory doesn't last forever. After a bitter divorce from former Prime Minister Michael in 2008, accusations of abuse, infidelity, and betrayal sent Lisa Ray into despair. Not wanting to become a victim of time, she decided to change herself. Lisa Ray entered the world of cosmetic surgery. It all began with a nose job. Lisa Ray wanted a smaller, more defined nose, but the results didn't meet her expectations. What stared back at her in the mirror was a sharper, more angular nose, lacking the softness she had envisioned. But Lisa didn't stop there. She went on to undergo more procedures in pursuit of the perfect face. Her chin was reshaped into a pointed triangle. Fillers were injected into her cheeks, but the more she added, the stiffer and less expressive her face became. Lisa Ray continued her quest to perfect her appearance, but in doing so, she seemed to be slowly losing her natural identity. Lisa Ray's skin had become unnaturally glossy and expressionless. Her jawline elongated, lips overcurved, and her tiny, reshaped nose created a strange and almost unrecognizable profile, one that stripped away her once effortless allure. By 2010, she reemerged with a completely new appearance. Fans were stunned. Gone was the sultry Lisa Ray McCoy of the Players Club era. In her place stood a stiff, distorted version of the woman they once adored. Hollywood, which had once worshipped her natural beauty, now looked on in confusion. Lisa clung desperately to her looks, but the cost was losing the very essence of who she was. Nicki Minaj, the queen of rap, stood out not only because of her talent, but also her unique appearance. In 2009, Pink Friday solidified her unshakable position. However, to maintain her top spot in this cutthroat industry, sacrifice was necessary. Facing fierce competition and driven by the need to shine, Nikki chose a dramatic transformation. A BBL procedure doubled the size of her buttocks, marking a turning point. Her butt became massive, perfect according to the new standards. But she didn't stop there. Her nose was shrunk, her cheeks were plumped, and her lips thickened into a rigid, doll-like shape. In the mirror, she saw a stranger. A stiff, unnatural sensation overtook her. With every step, her body felt foreign. Her massive buttocks swayed like weights on her petite frame. Praised on stage but off stage, her natural beauty had faded. She had become an artificial doll, almost unrecognizable to herself. She won the trend race of surgery, but at a steep price. K. Michelle, an R&B star and reality TV personality, was once a symbol of allure with a sizzling figure and captivating curves. In the early 2000s, she stood out as a confident woman with natural beauty, boasting prominent curves and a full-bodied physique. However, in an industry that constantly demands perfection and change, K. Michelle turned to cosmetic surgery in an effort to maintain that perfection. In 2014, K. Michelle underwent a Brazilian butt lift, BBL, hoping to achieve a larger, more attention-grabbing backside to maintain her prominent position in the spotlight. The surgery initially gave her a sizzling hot figure with a fuller backside, but quickly she realized the unwanted consequences. Her buttocks became misshapen and uneven, no longer in proportion to her body, causing constant, lingering pain and discomfort. The situation worsened as she faced excruciating physical pain, particularly when sitting for extended periods. The tingling and numbness became more frequent. However, the real nightmare came in 2018 when K. Michelle woke up to find herself paralyzed in her legs, with her backside swollen and in unbearable pain. These changes forced K. Michelle to face a constant battle with her own body. She lost her self-confidence and endured severe pain, the result of cosmetic surgery. Despite her physical transformation, the freedom and joy she had hoped for from the surgery never materialized. The surgeries weren't just about changing her appearance, but became a bloody journey in pursuit of an unattainable ideal of beauty. K. Michelle paid a heavy price in her attempt to achieve the vision she had in her mind, only to lose her confidence and face a body filled with pain, no longer recognizing herself. K. Michelle serves as a cautionary tale for those pursuing the ideal of beauty without realizing that sometimes the pursuit of perfection can cause us to lose ourselves, not just in terms of appearance, but also in physical and mental health. The stories you shared are truly heartbreaking and serve as a warning about the consequences of chasing perfect beauty through cosmetic surgery. Everyone has their own reasons and motivations for changing their appearance, but cases like K. Michelle's and Amara La Negra's show the transformation and serious consequences of excessive surgery. They are all individuals who sacrificed their natural identity only to end up with devastation and irreversible pain. Among all these stories, K. Michelle's may be one of the most tragic cases. The fact that she has to face a body destroyed by surgery and the life-threatening danger as silicone began to corrode her body is a tragedy not only in terms of appearance, but also health. The price to pay for these wrong decisions is too high. Not being able to recognize oneself in the mirror, along with the irreversible consequences, truly is a nightmare. A bloody exchange for attention. Tichina Arnold was a comedy star in her own right. On Martin, she was the sharp, tough Pam. In Everybody Hates Chris, she portrayed Rel, a funny, no-nonsense mom. She didn't need dazzling beauty. Her natural charisma was enough. However, Hollywood isn't just concerned with talent, it's about appearance too. After turning 40, Tichina faced a harsh truth. Leading roles were drying up. Younger, more beautiful actresses had taken over the stage. Fans still remembered her as Pam from the old days, but now they had started to forget her. She had to change. In 2015, it all started small, a nose job to balance out her face. But when the bandages were removed, she froze. Her old nose was gone. Now it was smaller, sharper, and didn't suit her round face. Every time she looked in the mirror, it felt like staring at a stranger. But it didn't stop there. In 2016, Tichina fell into despair when she discovered her husband, Rico Hines, had broken their vows. Worse yet, his sex tape had leaked online. She wasn't just betrayed, she was humiliated for the world to see. The pain pushed her toward a dreadful choice. She was going to reinvent herself. In 2017, Tichina dove into Botox and fillers. She wanted to erase the scars, to prove that she was still sexy, still youthful, still lovable. But no one told her, a little tweak is art. Too much is a disaster. The fillers hardened her cheeks, killing their softness. Both Kim Fields and Tichina Arnold went through painful transformations, not just in their appearance, but in their sense of self. They tried to hold on to those perfect images in the public eye, but in doing so, those changes stripped away their natural beauty and dulled the unique charm they once had. As part of the legendary Jackson family, she never quite shined as brightly as Michael or Janet. Though she sang and appeared on television, the name LaToya always remained dim in comparison to the megastars in her family. The constant comparisons to her siblings became a psychological burden that weighed heavily on her. Feeling overshadowed by her more famous relatives fueled her obsession with appearance. She wanted to stand out, to escape that shadow, and plastic surgery became the path she chose. Have you ever felt like you were living in someone else's shadow or faced pressure to change yourself in order to stand out? If you've experienced this, leave a 1 in the comments. If not, comment 0. In the 1980s, as Michael Jackson began his own journey through plastic surgery, the world watched his transformation unfold dramatically. LaToya, looking in the mirror and no longer loving the face staring back at her, chose to follow suit. She turned to surgery in hopes that a new look might finally help her step out from under the towering shadows of her siblings. But the changes didn't bring the outcome she had hoped for. The procedures left scars not just on her body, but on her soul. She began to lose recognition of herself in the mirror. Over time, her face gradually lost its natural essence. Her nose had been altered too many times, her eyes had lost their once bright spark, and her skin had grown tight, stripped of its natural softness. LaToya was no longer the girl people once knew. Her beauty had been undone by the very surgeries meant to preserve it. Instead of reclaiming the spotlight, each procedure pulled her further from the original image she once held. She became a version of herself, but no longer truly herself. Once a promising star within the Jackson dynasty, LaToya became a stark example of how the obsession with beauty and appearance can quietly dismantle a life. In a world where image is valued more than ever, she lost not just her looks, but her identity. Tiny, famous for her role as a member of the R&B group Xscape, was a musical icon of the 90s. She had a sweet voice and a cute appearance, with healthy brown skin and a round, full face. Tiny was once one of the brightest stars in the music industry, loved not only for her talent, but also for her natural beauty. However, as life changed, especially after marrying rapper T.I., she felt herself slowly fading from the spotlight. The pressure to always be perfect and satisfy her husband's ideal image pushed Tiny to turn to cosmetic surgery. In 2010, she decided to undergo a major makeover, hoping to reclaim the flawless beauty she believed she had lost. She started with a nose job, wanting a more refined and narrower nose. However, the result was not as expected. Her nose became too sharp and slightly uneven, disrupting the balance of her face. But Tiny didn't stop there. Fillers and Botox were continued to plump her cheeks and erase wrinkles, but these changes did not give her the natural look she had hoped for. Her cheeks swelled unnaturally, making her face seem unbalanced, and Botox made her face stiff, losing the lively, natural expression she once had. She also underwent a skin-lightening treatment, hoping to restore her bright and even complexion. However, the result was that her skin became pale, lifeless, and lacked vitality. Instead of enhancing her beauty, cosmetic surgery transformed Tiny into a pale image, resembling a wax figure. When she appeared in public, fans and the media were both shocked and disappointed. Her stiff face and lifeless skin made it hard for people to recognize who she was. Tiny, with all she once had a beautiful voice and natural beauty, was now just a shadow of her former self, no longer the person she used to be. Cosmetic surgery had stripped Tiny Harris of the natural allure she once possessed. She had sought perfection and youthfulness, but in reality, she lost herself in the process. Foxy Brown dominated hip-hop in the 90s. With her deep, powerful rap voice, she brought a unique beauty to the genre. She was the rap queen, competing with Lil' Kim at the top of the charts. But violence, prison, hearing loss, and a storm of crises hit her. Her career collapsed. Desperate to regain her former glory, Foxy chose the most dangerous path: surgery. It all started in 2005. Her bold, strong nose was shrunk and made sharper, losing its sharpness. Fillers puffed up her cheeks, erasing her natural wrinkles. Botox erased the wrinkles, but killed the expression. Her lips became fuller and more curved, making her smile stiff and unnatural. In public, no one recognized Foxy Brown. There were no compliments for her comeback, only shock. What had she done to her face? Once the queen, surgery didn't restore her crown. It turned her into a laughingstock. Vivica A. Fox once dazzled audiences in Independence Day, captivating viewers with her sharp and stunning beauty. She continued to solidify her name with Kill Bill, becoming a familiar face on the big screen. However, Hollywood is incredibly unforgiving to women as they age. When she entered her 40s, Vivica felt overlooked and decided to fight against time. She threw herself into the world of cosmetic surgery, relentlessly seeking ways to preserve her youth. But what she received in return was a cosmetic disaster. In the early 2000s, Vivica began receiving Botox injections. At first, it was just small injections to tighten the skin and smooth out wrinkles, helping her maintain a youthful appearance. However, Hollywood never stops. Younger, more beautiful actresses who didn't need surgery began replacing her. In 2003, after her highly publicized breakup with rapper 50 Cent, things took a turn for the worse. She not only lost love, but also her reputation. From 2015 to 2020, Vivica completely lost herself in her obsession with cosmetic surgery, continuous Botox injections, and thicker fillers. Each injection took her further away from her true self. Her skin became taut and smooth, with no wrinkles left, but it lost its natural look. Her eyes narrowed from being pulled too tightly. Her cheeks puffed up unnaturally, and her lips became fuller, but stiff. Vivica's face now resembled a wax figure more than a living person. Even though she still attracted camera flashes when stepping onto the red carpet, the compliments were no longer there. She used to be so beautiful. That was the haunting refrain Vivica had to hear about herself. Tian T-Boss. Watkins is the heart of TLC, the best-selling female group of all time. With her raspy, emotive voice, iconic blonde hair, and a sharp yet gentle face, she was not just a singer, but also a beauty icon. However, behind that allure, T-Boss had to face the pains of illness and loss. In 2002, the death of Lisa Left Eye Lopes left her devastated. TLC began to fade, and she lost an important part of her life. Time gradually wore down her appearance, making her feel the inevitable changes brought on by aging and illness. Panic set in. She turned to surgery, hoping to regain the confidence and youthful appearance she had lost. However, things did not go as she had hoped. In 2005, T-Boss underwent nose surgery, but the procedure was a failure. Her nose shrank too much, causing her face to lose balance. Despite the disappointment, T-Boss didn't give up. She continued with Botox injections and fillers, hoping to preserve her youthful beauty. Botox and fillers in hopes of preserving her youthful beauty. However, these measures only made her face stiff. Her cheeks swelled strangely, her lips thickened and became rigid, no longer harmonizing with the rest of her face. The graceful face of TLC was now just a memory. On stage, T-Boss no longer recognized herself. Her face was no longer her own. The world no longer recognized who she was. The surgeries, despite aiming to maintain her youthful appearance, stripped away the naturalness of her face and in some ways caused her to lose a part of her identity. A bloody reinvention for a television icon. Nene Leakes is more than just a reality TV star, she's a phenomenon. The Real Housewives of Atlanta made her the center of every showdown, a sharp-tongued woman who feared no one. But in Hollywood, status isn't just about personality, it's about appearance, too. She began scrutinizing her reflection, wondering if this face was still worthy of attention. Then she decided to change. In 2010, the first transformations began. Her old nose was slimmed and lifted, but it looked too sharp, too unfamiliar. Her once round face changed after a series of procedures. Liposuction slimmed her jawline and cheeks, but it made her look older instead. Fillers were used to compensate, stretching her skin in an unnatural way. Her once expressive eyes were pulled tight, losing their softness. She looked more refined, but no longer natural. Her career soared, but her personal life crumbled. Her 2011 divorce from Greg Leakes brought legal battles and emotional scars. She refused to break, and the only control she had left was reshaping herself. Multiple nose revisions, repeated filler injections in her cheeks and lips, but the public noticed. They stopped marveling at her beauty and instead gawked at how unrecognizable she had become. When Nene remarried Greg, things seemed to brighten until his death from cancer in 2021. She turned to surgery again, this time to heal the pain. Another transformation. More fillers, more Botox. Her face no longer belonged to the beloved star, it became a distorted echo of the past. The buzz faded, the chatter died down. People just stared in silence because Nene Leakes, the woman who once ruled reality television, had become a stranger to herself. The nightmare behind the teen star's smile. Kim Fields was once a phenomenon, best known for her role as Tootie Ramsey on The Facts of Life. She was America's beloved child star, radiant smile, sparkling eyes, a natural charm. A teenage goldmine for Hollywood. But Tinseltown doesn't favor child stars once they grow up. By her 20s, Kim faced a harsh reality. The scripts stopped coming, and she had to find a way to reinvent herself to stay relevant. No one was talking about Kim Fields anymore. No one was looking for her. Her childhood fame had faded, leaving behind only a dusty name in the audience's memory. In 2010, a second chance arrived when the Real Housewives of Atlanta invited her to join, reopening the doors to the spotlight. But stepping into the brutal world of reality TV, Kim quickly came to a horrifying realization. Every woman here looked impossibly perfect. Flawless skin, no wrinkles, sculpted faces untouched by age, plump, youthful lips. Kim, bearing the marks of time, felt out of place. The cameras zoomed in, exposing every line, every contour, and each wrinkle seemed to scream, "You're not that child star anymore." She knew she had to change. In 2011, the first needles went in. Botox for the wrinkles, fillers for the cheeks, a touch of plumpness in the lips to stay on trend. But a touch was never enough. Kim kept going back, again and again. Then the worst happened. By 2015, it had gone too far. Her cheeks puffed up, losing their natural shape. Her lips were overly plump, stiff like wax. Her nose shrank down, now appearing disproportionate to the rest of her face. On TV, viewers gasped, "She looks so different!" Kim Fields, with her distinct, endearing charm, was now unrecognizable. The signature smile that had built her career had become stiff, lifeless. She tried to show emotion, but her face wouldn't move. Little Tootie was gone. Hollywood had stolen her youth. Surgery had stolen her identity. And now, looking back, all Kim Fields could do was quietly wonder, am I still me? Miami has a queen, Trina, the most seductive female rapper, a rap icon of the 2000s. She had it all: a scorching hot body, fierce flow, and a commanding presence. Her empowering anthems for women elevated her to the top. No one could match her. But times changed, and Trina had to keep up. In 2010, the Brazilian butt lift, BBL craze, exploded. Young rappers like Nicki Minaj and Cardi B flaunted their fiery curves and oversized booties. Trina realized she was falling behind, left in the dust. She jumped into surgery. Her first BBL was effective, but she couldn't resist the allure. Years later, her buttocks became inflated, uneven, one side higher than the other. Sitting revealed the imbalance. Walking made people whisper, "Bad BBL." The fillers also ruined her face. Her cheeks puffed, her lips curved, her nose shrank oddly, leaving her with a swollen, doll-like plastic face. The Queen of Miami was gone. All that remained was a mess of surgeries. A music legend, she once captivated audiences not only with her powerful voice, but also with her regal beauty and commanding presence. For decades, she stood as a symbol of allure and success. But as she passed the age of 60, time began to chip away at her once glowing image. Wrinkles crept in, and her career no longer held the same momentum it once did. After losing her beloved husband of over 30 years, Patty was left feeling alone and hollow. In that emptiness, she began to believe that if she could recapture a more youthful, beautiful appearance, maybe life would feel different. The obsession with holding on to youth slowly pulled her deeper into the world of cosmetic surgery. It began with a minor nose job in 2005, but instead of refinement, the outcome left her nose unnaturally shrunken, with the tip oddly curled upward. Still, the disappointment didn't stop her. Patty kept turning to cosmetic surgery, believing that just one more tweak might fix it all. Yet with each procedure, she drifted further from the face she once cherished. Her cheeks swelled unnaturally from fillers. Her skin was stretched so tightly that the softness and grace that once defined her began to vanish. Botox erased the wrinkles, but also froze her expressions, leaving her once vivid face stiff and emotionless. Her lips, once subtly charming, became thick and misshapen, robbing her of the elegant allure she had long been known for. Instead of feeling renewed, Patty Leal slowly lost her identity in the relentless pursuit of aesthetic perfection. The cost of clinging to youth and beauty turned her into an unrecognizable version of herself. Though she remained in the public eye, no one could truly see the talented, radiant woman they once admired. Cosmetic surgery intended to rejuvenate ultimately stripped away not only the natural features of her appearance, but also the distinct charm that had made Patty Leal a legend. Her iconic beauty faded, replaced by a face that bore no signature, no familiarity, no longer hers. An icon of hip-hop, she became an essential force in the group Salt and Peppa, carving out a bold, unapologetic style all her own. Sandra's sharp, powerful features and magnetic presence captivated audiences throughout her career. But like many stars, time proved to be no ally, and Sandra was no exception. As her career began to fade and her marriage unraveled, she no longer felt like the woman the public had once adored. She began to feel the weight of aging and the creeping fear of losing the allure that had defined her image. That fear soon grew into an obsession. She turned to plastic surgery, hoping it would restore her youth and bring back the captivating appearance she once had. But rather than helping her reconnect with herself, the procedures pulled her further from her original identity. Peppa's surgeries began with small changes but gradually spiraled out of control. Her face became tight and unnatural, her cheeks puffed up, and her lips, now overly full, clashed with the rest of her features. The series of surgeries dramatically altered Lil' Kim's image, stripping away the unique allure that had once set her apart. When she re-emerged in the public eye, fans and media alike were stunned by her dramatic transformation. Peppa's face now looked like the product of excessive surgery, no longer bearing the natural, powerful beauty that once defined her. Tabloid headlines mocked her appearance, and the public no longer saw her as the fearless hip-hop icon she once was, but rather as a stranger even to herself. Cosmetic surgery, meant to preserve youth and allure, had instead stripped Lil' Kim of both her natural appearance and a vital piece of her identity. She had once stood as a symbol of strength and originality, but now, in the eyes of many, she had become a faded shadow of the woman she used to be. Amara La Negra's story is truly a heartbreaking wake-up call about the pursuit of physical perfection without fully anticipating the serious consequences. Her decision to undergo surgery in order to achieve the perfect butt and make other enhancements led to irreversible complications that damaged not only her appearance, but also her health. The pressure in the entertainment industry is relentless, and sometimes, to keep up with ever-changing beauty standards, artists like Amara feel they must sacrifice parts of themselves just to survive and stand out. But the price she paid was far too high. Cosmetic surgery, while it can bring positive change for some, turned Amara into a stranger to herself. The physical changes she once believed would boost her confidence became a burden both physically and emotionally. Even more painful were the side effects and complications from the procedures, which forced her to confront the weight of past decisions that went terribly wrong. The most tragic case may vary from person to person, but Amara's story, with all the pain and loss she endured, might be one of the most profound tragedies. She not only lost her natural body, but became haunted by irreversible complications, all in the pursuit of modern beauty standards. Her experience is a sobering reminder that self-love and embracing natural beauty are vital. Life and health are our most precious assets, and we should never sacrifice them to chase society's unrealistic ideals. Have you ever felt pressured to change your appearance to fit beauty standards? If yes, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, comment 0. Every number tells a story, and I'd love to hear yours. Don't forget to enjoy the video, leave a like, hit that subscribe button to support the channel, and share if you think this message is worth spreading.